Hello everyone and welcome to Resident Evil, Operation Raccoon City.
Resident Evil.
This is a third-person cover-based squad shooter that people didn't like too much. We're going to be playing in single player because I'm a lonely person. We are not starting from the beginning, we're going to be playing on a stage that I think will show off the game's mechanics well enough. Now, my personal favorite character is Beltway, because I like explosions, and he is good with those. We can only choose one active ability, and we're going with the Sticky Grenade, because it acts like a normal grenade, but it sticks to things and it replenishes on its own. So we practically have an infinite supply of grenades.
Seen a lot of RPD and civilian activity in the downtown area. Team 5 reporting. Gunfire near the hospital. Command, we have positive contact. Understood. Move to contain.
Ma'am, please calm down. What is the nature of your emergency? Trying to get in the windows. Please help us. Ma'am? Ma'am!
Our line is breached. We can't hold them off. They're everywhere. Containment failed. We need extraction.
To ensure Umbrella's survival, the story of what happened must never be told. We need to make sure the truth dies, along with each scrap of evidence and every survivor. Umbrella Security Service Task Force. Commence Operation Raccoon City.
Let's move out. Our objective, City Hall, is up ahead.
I can't believe Umbrella's blaming us for the outbreak.
Yes, and that's why we're being redeployed. Let's hope things go according to plan.
Command will not be happy with us until we can assure them they will not be connected with the outbreak.
This area in particular of this game is kinda dark, a little hard to see stuff. It's not unplayable.
Command, position 1 reached.
Position confirmed, Wolfpack. Proceed into the cold zone.
I am a fan of how they decorated the environment with unique dead bodies. I think it's a nice touch.
Hey, quiet. Do you hear that?
There's something up ahead. Weapons ready.
Something I think is kinda cool is that zombie is programmed to throw us in here. There's a nice explosive barrel in this room. This is our first introduction to the regular zombies, which are pretty much just cannon fodder. The way you kill them quickly is you shoot their head. Now you might think we might need a more high accuracy weapon than a shotgun to do that, but the shotgun has a wide spread, so we just aim in the general direction of their head and their head explodes. In this game, conserving ammo is really important. Now, this stage is a little bit generous with the ammo boxes, but others aren't so much, and you might have to end up dropping your signature weapon if you're not careful. Regardless of how easy it is to kill these enemies, it's still pretty satisfying. The sound effects are nice, and so are the graphical effects.
Here's UBCS.
Nikolai Genoviev, UBCS D Platoon B Squad. Your Umbrella Security Service? Upper management must be in a panic if they sent you.
Save it. What are you doing here?
My team was sent here to rescue citizens, but there's no time for that. City Hall is a mess. I'm trying to find a safe zone.
There is no safe zone. What's going on in there?
City Hall is crawling with infected and some unidentified military personnel. They're looking for something. Why? What are you doing?
You leave the questions to us, pal. Let's feed this guy to the locals.
He's UBCS. He'll get himself killed somehow. We've got orders. Let's move.
All the best with your mission.
The City Hall has been locked down. Access the security room and override it.
Copy that, Command.
I really dig this game's atmosphere. It feels like they recreated the Resident Evil atmosphere, but tailored it for a third-person shooter. It's also nice seeing Raccoon City in HD, even if Raccoon City is a normal city. I like games where you play in cities. We threw our sticky grenade, which is fun. It's very useful for clearing out large areas with zombies in them. Especially if you're trying to conserve your ammo. Now, you wouldn't want to use a regular grenade, because those are even more rare than ammo. We can perform close quarters combat, but I don't find it particularly useful. It's just if an enemy gets way too close. And even then, it's not necessary if you have a shotgun, because a shotgun is a shotgun. And you can just shoot things that are up close with it. We can pick up two kinds of sprays. We can pick up health sprays and antiviral sprays. I believe Beltway can only carry one health spray at a time. Here's the first area where something actually interesting happens. We want to move around here immediately. Because all of our comrades, they'll stay back there. And they'll take the bulk of the fire. And while they're distracting the enemies, we're free to plug away at them. That being said, we don't want to stay on the very edges for too long because other enemies will rush in from there. And if we don't have cover, they'll just obliterate us. See, if we stayed over here for too long, we would have to deal with these guys rushing down the steps. As soon as they get down here. The AI in this game is not incredibly smart. They know to get out of the way of grenades. That much can be said. But usually they just try to bum rush you. They don't know how to do tactics. The game can still be difficult at times because there's just so many enemies. I think it's a decent enough balance. You never feel like the game is too easy. And I was never bothered by the AI not being smart in some games. Because it's a game design decision. You can't expect every AI to act like a real person, or else the game won't be playable. Headshots do not seem to affect other enemies in the same way as zombies, to say the least. They just kind of shrug it off. The AI always seems to aim toward the largest concentration of enemies, so even though we're right next to them, they don't really care. They're too preoccupied with our friends. Our friends who are dying, because they don't know how to do tactics either. Green herbs also heal you just like medical spray, but you have to use them as soon as you pick them up. You can't store them for later. You just stuff it in your face as soon as you see it. We can easily revive any fallen allies, but doing so in combat is not a good idea for obvious reasons.
Perfect.
There's not really ammo for specific weapons, it's just, oh look, a giant ammo box with all ammo for all weapons. This room is fun. I like to try and throw a sticky grenade on the statue, in the hopes that the enemies will huddle around it. And they do! This is one of the easiest rooms in the level, because the enemies just stand out here in the open, while we have plenty of cover back there. Speaking of cover, this game makes use of an auto-cover system, and there have been complaints about it, but I think those people are being weird, because I have not had a single issue using the cover system in this game, and I find it far more convenient than pressing a button. We can just run in and kill these guys with our shotgun, because there's only 2 of them. They're not going to do a damn thing.
Command, we've entered the security room.
There should be a console. Use it to override the security lockdown. Good. Now you can access the server room and destroy all of the city's records.
Check out that monitor. Looks like a security feed from earlier today.
That's Nikolai and his team.
Nikolai fed his team to the infected.
No one cares about a few dead UBCs. We've got a job to do.
All of the characters do have their own personalities, and different things are said depending on who you take with you on a mission. I always try to bring Lupo, because she has the most interesting things to say. She seems to have the most personality. Oh hey, other zombies. Sorry, was waiting for the doorway to clear up. If you perform a close quarters attack while running, you do a dashing charge, which knocks over anything in front of you. It's only useful for singular enemies, though. If you try and do it in a group, they'll just shoot you dead. Or bite you dead. I really like having an infinite supply of grenades. Even if one of my teammates just ran up there after I threw it. Whenever you're fighting normal zombies, you're not really in for a rough time. You basically just have to cut a path through them. And even then, only in tight spaces. They're very slow. It wants us to cause bleeding damage to this guy so the zombies will smell him, but we're just going to throw a grenade on the back of his head instead. Which I think is far more useful. I don't know how he didn't notice there was a grenade attached to his neck, but he didn't. I would have attempted to cause bleeding damage like the game wanted me to, but the shotgun doesn't cause bleeding damage, it causes you dead damage. That guy probably should have tried to take cover a little bit. You might have noticed with the addition of health sprays that unlike a lot of third-person shooters, our health does not permanently regenerate or actually regenerate at all on its own. We have a set health bar. This is part of what makes the game more difficult than you would originally think. Now, hallways like this are pretty much made for grenades. You really want to save your grenades until you come across a situation like this. Because they might make regular battles easier, but at the cost of you getting shot to death later. I like that we took cover behind this, but our head is still sticking out. Probably could have chosen a better place to duck. One of the things I love about Beltway is that you can just slowly get closer and closer to the enemies. The fewer of them there are, the easier it is to get real nice and snug with the shotgun. Please stop shooting me, sir. I was trying to heal myself. I suppose this level is the definition of corridor shooter, isn't it? I personally never thought that was an insult. When you're fighting in a corridor like this, it's very arcadey, and I like that. The enemies are smart enough to move back, unless they get trapped against a wall. And we're also smart enough to ignore them and continue onward when they run away. You don't need to fight every enemy. If you do, you get a huge boost to your experience points at the end, but I'm trying to make a video here. We have a perk equipped to Beltway that he doesn't get knocked over or take very much damage from explosives. You can imagine that's pretty... That guy really shouldn't have been standing there. You can imagine that's pretty useful. Again, the enemy is not smart. Just wanted to say that again. This seems like a good time to mention that there are collectibles, but I did not collect them. Because no. No.
Looks like Nikolai's handiwork.
Who knows how many people he's fed to the infected? His mind's been warped.
Ooh, looks like fun. But we have a mission, yes?
Bertha is kind of sadistic, and she's our medic. You might think that's a bad combination, but she can carry 2 health sprays instead of 1. And she knows when to heal us.
Now proceed to the records room and finish the job.
We're gonna stay in the corner over here, because I know these guys are gonna turn into zombies. Something I like is that you can shoot them just as they're standing up, as you saw. They don't really have any invincibility frames. Once again, the doorway is clogged by my friends, and I really want through. Just excuse me, guys, please. Thank you, I'm sorry, we need to go forward. I like that gurgling sound effect. How is this one still alive? It is possible to leave your friends behind because they get distracted by enemies, but eventually they get the idea and run toward you. Thankfully.
Take cover.
I was confused here because for some reason I thought the enemy fire was coming from in front of me, even though the screen was telling me otherwise. It's just a couple enemies too, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, for some reason I was super convinced that the fire was coming from in front. Now we can head up these stairs that we couldn't before. Doop-de-doop-de-doop. Now, here comes the toughest part of the stage. We have to choose to either go to the right or left, but the left has something we want, so we're going to take that path. It's another huge corridor full of enemies, but there's a lot more of them than last time. And in order to even begin taking cover, we have to make some sort of advance on them. Which is what grenades are for. They did their job. We now have cover. The issue, of course, being that they are over there and we are back here with the shotgun. So we need to get ourselves closer. Now the thing we wanted in this path, if I can stop getting stuck on the environment, is back here in this room. The right path doesn't have this. It's a health spray. The rough part's really over now. I mean, not for our friends who are all half dead, but for us the rough part's over. This is the last line of defense right here. We don't have any grenades to deal with it. But they're all pretty nearby, so our shotgun will be fine. Vector is the guy that can turn invisible and has really good melee attacks. That's what he's doing over there, or at least what he was trying to do.
Hey, that's the records room.
Alright, now find Find that evidence and get rid of it.
I got stuck on the railing here because the game was too dark for me to see where the railing was. I figured it out though.
Is this what Umbrella's worried about? Let's toast it.
So this is just a small maze where we have to find all the evidence and burn it. The evidence is conveniently all compiled in, like, rolled up pieces of paper.
What have we here?
You might be wondering what our friends are shooting at, and they're shooting at mines that if we trip would explode us, which is bad. Our friends are smart enough to shoot the mines instead of run into them. And they're actually pretty proactive about it. Here's one of them. We just have to follow the light back and shoot it. When I first played this game, I did not know you could shoot them. So I just ran through them. Which was a bad decision.
Hey, Command. We got us a little barbecue going here.
Mission accomplished. Now let's get out of here.
There's a room up here with a whole ton of goodies, which means you might think there's a boss fight coming. And kinda, but what actually happens is a bit better than a boss fight, I think. We're gonna get this new gun. It's going to be far more useful than our shotgun for what's coming up ahead, and it also deals pretty good damage. I'm trying to find someone to heal, but they don't seem to want to stand still.
Shit. What the hell's wrong with you, Nikolai? Why'd you off your whole damn team?
They serve their purpose most excellently. Just as you.
God damn it, Nikolai! Get back here!
So these hideous fucking things are called lickers, and they can strangle us with their tongue. There are so many of them, and they just keep coming, and trying to kill them is a terrible idea. They soak up bullets, and no matter how many we kill, more will just come anyway, so we need to find our way out of here. Which means we need to find the card. Just sitting in the center, amongst a bunch of mines. And after we touch it, shit starts exploding. As long as we react fast enough, being grappled by the lickers is not a big deal. The issue is when they try to hit us with their tongues, or they're attacking us on the ground. But when they do that, we can kick them over. Luckily, we know where the exit is, so we're just going to go straight for it. And from here on, it's just a bunch of zombies. We're just going to head right for the exit and ignore them as much as possible. Even if that means leaving our friends behind. At the end of the level, we get a score based on what we did in the mission. Now, if I wanted to S-rank this, that wouldn't be a problem, but I just wanted to show it off, and didn't feel like spending an excessive amount of time here.
Get it together if you want to be extracted. Don't forget that you caused all of this.
A C is not so bad, all things considered.
BCS operative, Nikolai.
So that was Operation Raccoon City, and I think it's pretty fun. It's not like a breakthrough third-person shooter or anything, but it gives interesting insight into the Resident Evil universe. It controls really well, and I love the atmosphere. Also, the auto cover, pretty great. I really wish more games would implement auto cover. But thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you soon.